In a championship fight, you're going to get hit tonight. You're going to get punched tonight. Champions get hit, but they keep punching.
Both teams getting after each other to start. Rondo sidestep blocked by James. Rondo drives hard, kicks it off to Pierce, and the finish. James fires a three. Bang! Drives to the lane. LeBron James throws it down. The Heat on a roll.
Hey there, everybody. It is great to have you out there for the very latest episode of Game Time. I'm Matt Weiner along with 3D, Dennis Scott, Mitch Richmond on board as well. There are not many more appealing words in all of sports than Game 7. Saturday night, the Boston Celtics and Miami Heat staged the 111th in NBA playoff history. And in the biggest of games, the big three were especially large for Miami. To South Beach we go. LeBron James, third career Game 7 after his 45-point, 15-board, 5-assist Game 6. Eighth time around in a Game 7 for Paul Pierce, who has struggled shooting throughout this series. Rajon Rondo playing tricks. You turn your back.
You can't turn your back on Rondo.
Well, one of the stories early on in this game, Chris Bosh's production knocks down a three here. That would become something of a theme. Rondo, meanwhile, just clever.
Clever, jumps off the wrong foot at times, but at the end of the day, makes his shots.
Guys, Kevin Garnett got himself in a foul trouble, had to sit in the second quarter. The Celtics go on a 14-3 run with him on the bench. Brandon Bass surveils the situation and comes up with a steal and a dunk on the other end.
Yeah, Bass was huge the first half. I mean, he was hitting shots, he was rebounding, he was in the passing lanes, and he was doing a great job.
Dwayne Wade not getting him that time. 5 of 7 from the field for Bass in the first half. He had 14 points. Boston up by 11. LeBron James with the swipe gives it to Dwayne Wade. Alley-oop back to the King, who had 14 in the first half on just 5 field goal attempts.
Yes, most people fall down after they get a steal like this, but not LeBron James. Great effort to give the ball ahead, and of course, D-Wade giving it back to him.
A little swing action.
Third quarter, Dwayne Wade to Shane Battier, who knocked down 4 threes in this game.
Yeah, Battier needs a little space, and if he gets a little space, he's pretty accurate.
Wade stops and knocks down the jumper. Tied it at 59. The Heat would take their first lead since the first quarter at 63-62. Kevin Garnett with a putback here. Boston retakes the lead. He had 14 and 7. James working on Ryan Hollins' advantage, Miami.
Well, great patience and understanding Hollins left his feet, knocks down the shot.
Rondo had 10 points in the third quarter. Boston back up by 2. We go to the fourth, tied at 73. Wade splits the D, and the big finish as Miami's marquee three took over the final quarter. Paul Pierce, just 7 of 18 from the field. He had 19 points. Boston up a point. James got aggressive, started getting to the rim.
Hit that switch, not settling for his jump shot, getting to the rim. Him and D-Wade in that fourth quarter hit that switch, got in attack mode.
Ray Allen's 9th career Game 7. He had 15 points, 5 of 11 from the field. Boston still with a 1-point lead, but James, again, hard to the rim, harder finish. 4 of 9 in the fourth quarter.
Freeze it! Hello, Rim. How you doing?
Good
to see you again.
Look at the face.
James to Bosh, and again, he's launching threes.
Yeah, every time Garnett helped, they made him pay. And Bosh hit a big three, hit a couple big threes, but every time he made a bad decision, he paid for it.
Bass knocked down his only shot attempt of the second half there to get him back within 4, but James, shot clock running down, desperation three, the only three of the night he hit, 11 of his 31 in the fourth quarter. They tip it out here. James kind of gave up on the play, trying to avoid the backcourt. Instead, he gave up a layup. Rondo, with his 10th career postseason triple-double, he's tied Larry Bird for third all-time in that category, but the Heat pulling away. James to Bosh with the floater. He had 19 points. Wade drives. He hits the floater. 9 of his 23 in the fourth quarter. The bump and the bucket there, and the folks there in Miami sensing that the finals are about to return to their town. Rajon Rondo didn't bother to wait for the final buzzer.
Out of there.
Saw the writing on the wall, and you see the mutual respect between James and Doc Rivers. The Eastern Conference title back to Mickey Arison, Alonzo Mourning, and the Miami Heat. They're headed back to the finals as home teams have improved to 89 and 22 all-time in NBA playoff Game 7s. Miami wins its third Eastern Conference title thanks in large part to LeBron James' 31 points, 12 boards, his 8th 30-10 game of the postseason. He also passed Dennis Johnson for 17th on the postseason scoring list in the process.
He was big time. Every shot, every defensive play, every defensive rebound, his energy and his effort, we missed him, you know, and it's happy to have him back at the right time. And he made some big plays. And if it weren't for him and the rest of the guys that stepped up, we want to win this game.
Well, as expected, you and Dwayne Wade and Chris Bosh closed out that fourth quarter. But can you describe the contributions of Shane and Mario and Udonis on your ability to close this series?
Well, that's what we talk about. This has to be a collective group for us to win a championship from the first guy all the way down to 15. Everybody was in tune today, and we wanted to give our fans a big win tonight, and we was able to do that. So everybody had a big part of this win, and we look forward to the next challenge.
That was the biggest challenge that I've ever had in my life, to make sure I stay ready. So when the time did come, I would be able to contribute instead of trying to get my legs under me and being a non-factor. So I thought about it every day. I worked hard with the coaching staff and the doctors and the trainers, and we just relentlessly worked every day. And now those things are paying off.
The Heat's big three stood tall as time grew short, scoring all 28 of Miami's fourth quarter points, taking all but one of the team's 18 fourth quarter shots. Bosh, for the first time in his career, knocked down three three-pointers in one game. Never happened before. What did his shooting touch do for the Miami offense?
It was huge for him. I mean, he spread the floor for him. I mean, he allowed LeBron James, he allowed D-Wade to get to the hole a little bit, get some easy shots, and when they did help, like we said, LeBron made the right pass, and Bosh hit some shots.
Well, the threes are one thing, but when that little cut to the basket, the slashing, when that's Turioff or anyone else, you don't take him serious. When it's Bosh, you have to look at that and take that serious. So knocking down those three-point shots are big, but slashing to the basket and having another go-to guy was huge in the fourth quarter.
And Doc Rivers said as much after the game. The Celtics needed the guy covering Bosh to help on LeBron James or Dwayne Wade as they made their way to the rim. James finished off another incredible series, sublime numbers in the 7-game series in the Eastern Conference Finals. And as you look at the raw numbers, listen to this.
Ooh,
First player to average more than 30 points, more than 10 rebounds, and shoot 50% in a conference finals since Shaquille O'Neal back in 2002. And you guys may recall, Shaq is a 7'1" center.
Exactly. And look at that. This is 46 minutes a night where we've had the back-to-backs, shortened season. You play 66 games, in 121 or 28 days it was. And for this guy to still have enough energy to play at this level is still amazing.
Those are the series numbers. How good was he in 6 and 7?
He was phenomenal. And it kind of reminded us why he was the MVP. The first couple rounds, we always nitpick LeBron takeover games, but he waited to the Eastern Conference Finals to remind people, this is how good I am.
Yeah, and he played that way all during the season on attack mode. And then he came back in Game 6 and Game 7 and continued to play that way.
And speaking of the MVP award, we now have an NBA Finals which features the top 2 vote getters in the MVP balloting for the first time since 1998. Michael Jordan and Karl Malone hooked up that time around. As you look at the NBA Finals matchup starting on Tuesday night at 9 Eastern Time, the Oklahoma City Thunder won one more regular season game, which gives them home court advantage. They split their regular season series. Heat have the advantage in All-Stars for this season and in finals appearances, at least in their current incarnation as the Oklahoma City Thunder. Quick thoughts on what we expect to see starting on Tuesday night.
Well, make sure you put your seatbelts on and your track shoes, because this should be an exciting up-and-down series, because you have two teams that like to play defense and turn their defense into easy offense. And both teams have two guys at any given time can get hot. So it's going to be very nice.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting, and I think it's going to be a fast break pace. And, you know, if Miami have any laws or 2 or 3 minutes, they're going to be in trouble because this team scored too easy.
With apologies to the Celtics and Spurs fans, this is the matchup a lot of people wanted to see with Kevin Durant and LeBron James on the same floor for an extended series. On the way, the loss not only stings for the Celtics, it could mean the end for this group in Boston. What's ahead when we come back?